Wow. Health and nutrition myths, separating facts from fiction, is our topic today on this episode of Hard Knocks. And we want to educate you people and every other person watching on the facts and fictions that surround health and nutrition. How important is nutrition to our health or healthy living? And we hear a lot of things about how we shouldn't eat this, how we shouldn't eat that. That it has practically become impossible to open your phone these days and you will not get a scary news. And we've handpicked someone who is a medical practitioner and we believe she will be doing justice to this topic. Kindly introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Dr. Dunola Olabintan, and it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm excited to talk to you guys
Yeah,
about
and
nutrition and health.
she's a general practitioner in the field of health, and the person who makes it possible for us to be here every time, every week that we shoot, no other person than.
Yeah, I'm the Grandmaster, and I'm happy to be on this show today.
Thank you, Grandmaster.
Is the name for me, Grandmaster?
Yeah,
Like a chess Grandmaster
You can say that.
or
again.
life Grandmaster.
Life Grandmaster.
The white beards, they.
There's a secret behind the name, but he has not paid me royalty, so I'm just trying to give myself accolade. I got that name.
I'm giving you recognition for
that. No, I want royalty. Recognition is not enough. You know, the name I go for and tomorrow, and you are making money from the name, so I should be getting something. Anyway, that's by the way. We welcome you all to the show. Let's get serious because on this show, while we try to entertain you, we also want to get serious. So I want to ask, how important is nutrition to healthy living?
Okay, thank you for that question. Nutrition is very, very important, right? Nutrition forms like one of the key aspects of our lives as people. So in computer language, they will say garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So same thing with nutrition. What you eat is what your body gets. I'm tempted to do a Yoruba proverb here that says in about jelly before, right?
Yeah.
So is that what you give your body that it will thrive on. You feed your body rubbish and it will in turn show in not just it shows in your skin, it shows in your hair, it shows in your organs, it shows everywhere. So nutrition is actually also a key component of public health because when you talk about malnutrition. Malnutrition can be maybe underfeeding, overfeeding, right? So it's not when you talk about nutrition issues, you don't talk about people that don't have enough nutrients. You also talk about people that are that have too much, that overfeeding, right? So nutrition is a big issue and it's something that everyone should be aware about. So they will know how to, manage their nutritional life, as it were.
Okay, all right. Like Ode said, I'm going to start with this. Talking about the nutrition. Is sugar a poison to the body?
So, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, in the sense that your body does need sugar, right? But only to a certain amount, right? So, okay, so there's naturally occurring sugar and there's processed sugar. So, naturally occurring sugar, you can find it in most of the foods that we eat, like a lot of them. Fruits and vegetables, a lot of them have naturally occurring sugar, like mangoes, pineapple, oranges, even yam. Yam is starch that would eventually be converted into sugar when you eat it. So, sugar is the source of energy for the body, right? So it becomes when it becomes a problem is when you're consuming it in excess, right? And which is what a lot of people do. So you have breakfast in the morning, say you have rice and stew. Your rice is eventually going, and the stew is part of it. All of it is some will go to protein, some will go to sugar, but a lot of it will go because rice is mostly carbohydrate. It will go to sugar, right? But after that rice that you've eaten, sometimes even more than what you need, right? A lot of people don't do portion control, right? You take it out a big plate and you put
it to your satisfaction,
and you pull it to the brim, and it's whenever you're full that you stop, right? And then after that, you now carry Coke, or you carry Fanta, or you carry a pack of juice, and you start loading your body with extra sugar that it doesn't need. So the WHO recommends, and the American Health Organization, American Heart Organization rather, that for women, your average sugar intake per day should be like 6 tablespoons of sugar.
When you mean women, not
Yeah,
human.
for women. Then for men, it should be about 9 tablespoons of sugar per day.
Mhm.
And yes, actually added sugar in this sense, not just basic sugar. Added sugar are things that we get from Coke, from
Okay.
Fanta, and all of those things, right? Your body daily requirement is different in terms of food, but added sugar in terms of sugar from coffee, from cocoa, from Milo and milk, from all of these things, it should not be more than 6 in 6 in women and 9 in men. But you find out that your bottle of Coke has like 12 tablespoons, right? So when your body, like when you eat enough breakfast in appropriate portion is enough. So all the other ones that we are taking is extra. So to answer your question in plain terms, yes, your body needs sugar to function. Is like you need is energy, is what your body burns. But when you now take extra, your body converts it to fat and starts storing
Okay.
it in your abdomen. So your tummy will be big.
So sugar is what makes our tummy big. Is that what you're saying?
Directly and indirectly, fat makes your body big. Any amount of food your body has. So your body needs maybe 2,000 calories per day, and you're eating 4,000 calories
So that's an excess.
excess. So the remaining calories will get turned into fats. That's just the next thing.
So I want to. It's a funny question. We have 5 classes of food, 6 classes of food. I'm confused. I think do we add water to it?
Usually they do.
Okay, so that should make it 6.
6.
So let me test my knowledge here now. Carbohydrates, protein, fat, and oil, mineral salts. What's the other one?
That's vitamins part of it.
Carbohydrates, fat and oil, protein, mineral salt, vitamins, then
Yeah.
water. Makes it 6. Now, there's this funny question I want to ask. What is beans? Where does beans fall under? And this is why I asked this question. Growing up, when they asked us to list all the foods under, we used to list beans under a certain category of food. Now, over time, they started telling us beans
It's no longer.
is
under
no longer.
protein.
So, and we're mixing beans and rice, believing we're eating balanced diet. At least if you can't eat meat, so I've mentioned all of a sudden. So I'm confused, and there's a reason why I'm asking this question. So, what is, first of all, maybe you help us to where is beans? Because in this part of the world, we are not vegetarians, so we rely heavily on animal protein too.
Yeah.
But it's also a food that can only be afforded by
Certain people, especially in
certain
this
people.
economy, I get
So
you.
where beans was the alternative to that, they are not telling us. So where does beans fall under?
So I would say that beans is that girl. She is both carbohydrate and she is also protein.
More carbohydrates?
Yes.
Or
So research these days has shown that beans actually contains more carbohydrates than it does protein. But that doesn't still mean that it doesn't have protein as part of its nutritional value. So when we classify food in secondary school, we make it seem as if that food only has that class of food. Meanwhile, a lot of our vegetables also have antioxidants. They have vitamins, right? They say carrot. Carrot is very rich in vitamin A, right? But you also find that carrot is also might be a good source of glucose, right? Of sugar. It might not necessarily be glucose that is in it, right? So sometimes there's not a one size fits all to a particular food, right? So I think that what our research was also trying to tell us is that you should not consume beans in excess, only thinking that it is protein, that it will also contain some carbohydrates. Regardless, I think it is still a good add to any meal, especially for those that can afford.
but
and
what
want
I've
protein.
heard is more carbohydrate than it's protein.
I agree. Yeah.
So how did was it was there an error in research? Because my agric teacher would have failed me if I had classified it. That's why I'm really concerned. And I'm concerned because of our research base in this country when it comes to anything, whether science or medical. It's almost like we have to wait for the FDA, what do you call them in the US, to pass down these things. And so hope there's not an agenda they try to push when they distort things we thought was like this. And because trust me, I'm unapologetically Pan-African. So sometimes I have this suspicion about and COVID-19. I think COVID-19 20 just
Yeah.
made me come to that, like, these people are not very serious. So sometimes I'm now wondering who told us it was like this and all of it. So was it an error in research?
So, what I would say is that science is not stationary. Science keeps growing. So, same way that Nigerians were killing twins at some point because they thought they were evil. And then I think is it Flora Shaw or Mary Slessor?
Mary Slessor, Mary
Mary
Slessor.
Slessor stopped the killing of twins, right? And then everybody stopped killing twins. Science is continual discovery, right? If I think at that point with the resources that they had, every day there are new equipment that allow you to do further research. In the 1970s, 1960s, you couldn't be talking about DNA technology, but you can talk about it now, right? So what I feel like is that research has gotten to that point. I also get your point about the kind of information that reaches us, especially as Africans. Seeing that we don't also do a lot of research in house, we have to rely on information coming from somewhere else. But a lot of this information that come out have to be verified by a lot of sources, not just the West in total, like World Health Organization,
But
WHO.
is World Health Organization not a tool in their hand?
That's a talk for another day.
Okay.
Let's
I was
keep.
going to say that too. That could be tough
So-
for another
so-
day. So talking about balanced diets now. We know we are in a country of the period that we had now. So many people cannot even afford to eat balanced diet. So they make do with what is available. They say when the desirable is not available, the available becomes the desirable.
Yeah.
Now, what is the place of supplements
Okay,
in
so
all of this? Yes.
I'm not a huge proponent of supplements. Like I don't advocate for it, except it is needed. Like maybe you have a condition that requires you to. Okay, for some people, when they have like surgery done,
Okay.
they give them high doses of vitamin C, vitamin E to help them with healing of the surgical scar, like
To speed up the
to
process.
speed up the process, that kind of thing. But for most people, do you know supplements are not cheap?
Very expensive.
They are expensive. They're expensive, oh. But most people would rather use their money to buy supplements instead of buying watermelon. To be honest, because when you are taking 1,000 grams of vitamin C or you are taking biotin, glutathione, most of these things can be found in the food that we grow.
Could it be that people want immediate result or a faster result?
People like to deceive themselves.
You want anything that is packaged from
Anything
abroad.
that is anything that is like is something like a med. Some people say they would rather take supplements than even use their meds. That's a talk for another day, right? But I feel if you don't need supplements, you don't need them. Some people will take calcium. Meanwhile, they don't need it. The only good thing about most of this, supplements usually contain vitamins and minerals. The good thing why there's not been serious problem with them is that the body doesn't usually store excess of. So they are fat soluble vitamins and water soluble. So your vitamin B and C's, they are water soluble. Once your body takes what it needs, the rest goes to urine. So just eat good food. Really, that's my
So
that's
good
my
foods are like what is it called? Alternative to
They're not alternatives. They are
supplements.
I think they should be the main
supplement.
cause.
It should be the main thing. They are not the alternatives. They are the main thing. So some people will say they are taking magnesium. They are taking zinc. Just go on Google and type food that is rich in
Contains
zinc.
zinc or magnesium.
Those things exist. So
But-
why?
But you are saying that maybe because I feel I'm of the opinion that people want a faster action.
I also
rather than-
agree with that.
Aha.
But supplements will not also give you a faster action. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this thing that's called placebo effect, where it's like you're taking something you think is working, but that thing there's actually nothing inside. Right? It's
So it's
something.
more of psychology or what?
Yes. Right. So placebo effect is like they are doing a drug trial, for example. So they are doing a drug trial for people with maybe hypertension. They give some people the actual drug. They give some people something with nothing in it, and you find out sometimes that people that they give something with nothing in it, they still feel better because they don't know that what they gave them was just a placebo. There's nothing
Okay.
in it, right? So for some people, when they use supplements, they say, "Ah, my skin glows." It's just a mindset matter really. So you swear I'm taking this supplement ever since I started taking it. But really, usually there's
But
nothing
don't you
there.
think there's an extent to which that can work? Now, if I believe this thing is working, and you are saying it's more of psychology, then there's an extent to which it should take me to that I will get to a point whereby it will be so obvious that yes, this thing is not really working.
So the question now is that what goal are people trying to achieve with actual supplement use? For some women, they use it for so use calcium for bone density, especially as they're getting older. But the thing is that I feel like people will never tell you when it stops working, when they feel like it doesn't work. Especially for the people that are selling it, right? They will not say that this didn't work. So I mean, so for someone that is, let me say, diabetic, for example, they sell them a supplement that is supposed to help them, but maybe boost insulin production or whatever. They use it for a while, they think they're okay, but they're actually not. And at the point where they run into problems, they won't come back and tell you that the supplement did not work. You met them at the point where it was working, but you might not know at the point where they said it stopped working or they didn't see the effect anymore.
So let me take you on. I want to pick out already said just eat good food instead of supplements. Now, um, there is a contention in Nigeria. We don't know if our government have come to own up to it that they've signed GMO foods into like we can now grow GMO foods in the country. And then you have some people who are educating the populace and telling them that these foods are harmful. In fact, we've heard that out there in the West and what I don't call them developed countries. I don't use that word because I don't feel we are that. That's just a tag. Um, in those climes, America and the US, GMO foods are well labeled in their supermarkets so that you know because there have not been a conclusive study to say it is good for consumption or it is bad. So it is now your choice. But here they are forcing it down our throats, right? So and when there is hunger, what is GMO? Give me, let me eat first. What's your take on this?
So for GMO foods, I would say that I am on the fence, right? So, um, naturally, I believe that. So I was talking to someone the other day about GMO, and they said that. So they gave me an explanation from two sides. They said that our population is a lot. We need to feed people. GMO foods they are genetically altered sometimes to withstand um like pest infestation or infections from like bacteria or fungi, whatever attacks that particular crop. And that with GMO food we would be able to produce a mass for the population that we have, and we will be able to feed them. And on the other side, like you said, um there's no conclusive research yet, but WHO says that the food is safe, that let's eat it. Now, my own reservation even comes from the economic standpoint. Most GMO, you can only plant them. You can't replant, as it were.
Yeah.
Like once you've said you plant a corn, it's not like our corn here. You plant corn, the
Can
corn
take that seed to
and
replant.
replant and all of
Plants.
that. So in my mind, that's economic trouble just waiting to happen. Because that's capitalism.
It seems someone is somewhere, and Bill Gates, anyway, quote me, is somewhere
I
trying
don't
to
know.
depopulate the world, right? Because these are the things they've tried to implement, even with the COVID-19. I don't know what we will not talk about that, right? Where all of a sudden something is killing everybody. When Ukraine war starts, it diminishes. So somebody is somewhere that is overly how is it called, is just passionate about depopulating the world, and this is just a tool to control everything. How do you depopulate the world? Hunger is one thing,
Yeah.
introducing diseases is another thing. So that's why I still have that skepticism.
Well, for me, as until research is done, like I said, science is ever growing. Until research is done to actually establish that GMO foods are not harmful, they are not something I would support with my full chest, right? The food that we have, there's things that have been growing for hundreds of years, and we've said that identify what's in them, we know what's in them, we know how to grow them, we know how they work, right? So I'm not seeing GMO food as the solution that we need right now, right? So, and until we're sure that they're 100% healthy, I would not be dabbling into them. And I feel like with our government, we need them to be transparent, especially with this thing. So, funny thing happened. Someone was telling me that all the broiler that we are eating, that they are GMO. I'm like, is it lie?
You mean the bread?
Broiler, the
So,
white
Okay.
chickens.
Yes, now, because even with the eggs, they lay. Those laid egg carry the normal egg that is laid, and those eggs you buy from supermarket. This is something I've tried on my own. Boil it, boil the both of them, and see how long it takes for each of them to get
Right, it was
cooked.
so weird. Someone told me, I didn't know that apparently those white, I think it's broiler that we call them, they don't even reproduce. Like some of them don't reproduce, they are just for meat, straight up. And I'm like, "Ah, this is news. I've been listening to you." Right. So, I mean, if and our government, as it were, to be honest, they are lacking in several areas. And it's not as if we can, in this tipping economy, we can't even trust them to make the best decisions for us. So, we have to keep advocating and saying that GMO no, and say that until so someone was even telling me that I've been having this conversation with a couple of people that apples that we are buying, a lot of them are GMOs. If you go
Yeah.
to the UK, they are they will put a sticker on it to tell you it's a GMO and also to tell you what type of GMO it is. So there's like a color chart where you can look it up online and say, oh, this is GMO, what type of GMO is this? Now, apples in Nigeria, you don't have to even stick it on it that is a GMO in the first place. Not to talk of now knowing the type of GMO it is. So in terms of policy and regulation, we're lacking. So I don't think now is the best time to even introduce something like this to our people. Like you said, whatever our people see, they will eat.
Okay. My Ode was saying the other time that okay, there is always an agenda by one person or another. Now, talking about pharmaceutical companies, now there's always this talk about them having an agenda in the sense that the kind of drugs they churn out, they don't actually get people don't actually get healed. Rather, they are being used to manage whatever health conditions people have. Is that actually true?
So with big pharma, my thoughts are two. Like it's divided into two. I see they are a money making organization.
Okay.
So, for example, in the US, insulin is very expensive because someone that was able to make it patented it, and like that patent didn't trickle down. So, in Nigeria, insulin is still relatively cheap for people that have diabetes. It's still expensive, but relatively cheap than when you're buying it abroad. So, I think it's high time you start viewing these people as companies. They are chasing profit, right? It's not so when people think about healthcare, they think about it in terms of giving back,
But should it be at the expense of human life?
Mm. So I think if you take a look at lawsuits against pharmaceutical companies over the past years, you realize that a lot of them are profit driven. Now to the question of curative versus
Management.
versus management, right? So I would say that as Black people, we have a lot of work to do in that regard, right? I'm not a scientist, right? So I would not I can't say auto,
Authoritatively.
authoritatively that I know the extent to which research has gone. There are people that are saying that they are looking for cure for cancer, they're looking for
Yeah.
cure for like, but our own diseases, the diseases that mostly affect Black people, they take a back seat. I don't know if you guys know, hypertension is mostly a Black people disease. The fact that you're Black is a risk factor for having hypertension. And the pharmaceutical research that we could even have done to say maybe hypertension could potentially have a cure, that kind of research, it exists, but the funding for it is not so much, right? So, in that case, I can't say authority that is an agenda, right? But I can see how pharmaceuticals can profit from management as opposed to creative. But on the flip side too, there are a lot of diseases that have cure, right?
Like you mentioned the hypertension case now. Is it because it is more prevalent in Africa, like you said? That's why they've not really done anything about it.
Some people have that school of thought. So the thing is that I feel like Africans need to start looking for solutions to African problems.
Now that takes me to this next question. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Abalaka some years back. He claimed to have the cure for
HIV.
HIV.
Okay.
Now, I followed the case up then, and I know how much frustration the guy encountered. In fact, they said he has to subject his medication to one thing or another. They put up so many obstacles, and at the end of the day, it went up like that. And there were still people that were claiming that they actually got healed with his the drugs.
Medication.
Yes, with his medication, but still, it was not approved. So that's why I said, could there be an agenda somewhere? Now, if you look at the issue of hypertension, high blood pressure, most of the drugs out there are just for management, not for cure. Sometimes people believe that, okay, this is being intentionally done, that if there could be cure for this or that, then how come this has
There's no
taken this
cure.
long?
So I had a patient last week that was recently diagnosed hypertensive, and I liked the person because they were also inquisitive to ask me this question. And to be honest, I could not give them I understand the science of hypertension, right? I understand the mechanism, how it develops, right? How your body is, how your heart is pumping against pressure, how the mechanism renin and angiotensin aldosterone system that is the major driver of hypertension. But like I said, I'm not a researcher, right? So the best people to have answered this question would be someone that has done excessive research into hypertension and maybe say that there's a possibility for a cure, right? A drug that can keep your blood pressure down and all of these things. But I can't say authoritatively that. So agendas will always agenda, right?
Trying to even bring up something. There was
So-
something I saw a few days ago regarding this hypertension of a thing. I don't know if I can still get it.
So while you're looking at that, so let's look at our foods, our Nigerian food delicacies. You know, we have this school of thought sometimes that those in the rural areas are eating more healthy foods than those in the urban centers. Maybe because they grow their food. The tendency is you wouldn't go to the village and see somebody eating apple. Apple is a food for a rich man. You wouldn't go to the village and see someone getting these GMO lemons, because I've had experience with them. You keep them 2 weeks in the house, it doesn't get spoiled at all, and all of that. So they grow their food. However, over time, you now see some, because of medical content creators. Nkechi don't eat gari. Nkechi don't eat akpu. Nkechi, now we are talking of portion control. And over time, if we check research, our fathers, if I'm saying forefathers, like I'm going far back in time, we had them living longer than people now. So why is there more like is it like there is a campaign of calumny against our food? And I say this because I'm always suspicious of the West, right? Is it to sell their own thing? Is it to sell Indomie? Or is it to create a market for cereals, right? That they do these things. And our food is that bad. Because,
Please, sorry.
An average Nigerian now in the urban center believes that when they tell him or her to eat healthy food, what he or she starts thinking is broccoli.
Yeah.
And, the plate setting. Nobody is thinking of, let me put my ewedu, and it's as if that's not a healthy food. So it's like there's a mental war they've waged and they are winning. Because even I myself sometimes, no matter how I try to deny it, I'm caught up in that and I'm thinking I want to eat healthy. What I start thinking of is what I see online, I consume, and it's not good. It's not good. So Where is the place of our food in all of this?
I think our food is very important. I would declare myself here an advocate for Nigerian food, right? Because a lot of even Yoruba people, a lot of our food, even Igbo people, is vegetable based, right? A lot of our food is soups
Yeah.
that are rich in vegetables. They are rich in so. The other day, a friend of mine showed me that I said I should go and buy a soup. I'm like soup. So I don't she said go and ask for fisherman soup. Only for me to buy this fisherman soup, and it was loaded, loaded with good protein. And I'm like, and it wasn't expensive. I think the soup it had snail, it had prawn, it had crayfish, but where all of it only for like 3K.
Huh?
Yes,
Well, in this
Are you
Nigeria,
sure?
in
Did
this
you check? Where
Lagos,
did you get
in
the
this
meat?
Lagos, it was in Ebutemeta. And you know, Ebutemeta is not far from Makoko, where they have like
okay,
like a
like
fish
a riverine
market,
area.
like a fish market where you can buy like fresh fish from the sea, I be river any, right? So our food is very important. So this mentality that you're talking about is not just for food, right? So I remember in secondary school, if you wanted to let them know that you're a big girl, you're an happening babe, you're not listening to Nigerian music as of then. It's now that Afrobeat is a big deal, right? Then you were listening to Nicki Minaj, you were listening to Lil Wayne, you were an happening babe, you knew Usher, you knew all of those, even up till the time of Cardi B, right? So when you say you're listening to what's it called, Terry Apala, some 5 years ago, you were considered Raz, right? But now Afrobeat is a thing where
Yeah,
you're asking Nigerians, like if you check most of our music channels, majority of the songs on there are Nigerian music. And that wasn't the
yeah,
case some 10 years ago with Channel O or all of
yeah.
these other music stations, right? So Afrobeat is now the reigning thing. You can identify that you're a Bonner fan, you're a Whiskey fan, you can drag yourself on Twitter. Same thing with food. When people, so we have this thing in public health, in community medicine, where you also talk about people's food habits when they were poor, people's food habits when they have small money, and people's food habits when they now have the money. So you have money, you were living in beggar before, you now move to Lekki, right? You want to eat like the Lekki people do. They don't shop, they don't shop in because they will go and buy broccoli, right? They want to have breakfast, it's cereal for breakfast. What is apple? You understand? It's a matter of I have arrived. I need to buy the expensive things
Why killing
to
yourself,
right.
actually?
So we now see our food as they will now say continental dish and local dish. That
Mhm.
local is not local in the sense of we are in Nigeria, is local like Yaras, right? So I think we have to have a mindset shift to our food, and there are a lot of creators that are disrupting these things. A lot of Nigerian food
Food
content.
creators that have Buchi mix.
No, not those criminals that are making ugu cake or something. People that actually take their time to cook our food, our tradition. You know, there was a time on Twitter where there was an argument that Yoruba people don't have soup, and people went up in arms and started listing like 20 Yoruba soup, like we have soup and all of those things. So until we get back to the time where we value what
What
we
we have.
have, will not also, and that valuing what we have is not just for food, it's for everything. So when you take a look at, so recently I also tried to change my diet to be more fiber heavy because I'm easily constipated, and I go online and I'm like, what is good fiber? Gary, vegetable. Some people like this, if they eat a good plate of vegetable straight to the toilet, your bowel will
Yeah.
move, right? And that same thing is also what we pass on to children. If you as a parent, you're raising your children with cereal, in the morning, you're not considering maybe a bowl of fruit or something that you grew up with. They will also consider it as something that is not is ras. In secondary school, I remember in boarding house, we had a night where they gave us a core and a four, like a pap and vegetable. And a lot of people will not go to what is it called, to dinner that night because of who wants to eat, because it's rice food now. But me and my two legs all the way
Oh dear.
there. Because now that I'm considering, I have a sister who's trying to do weight loss at home, and that's what she eats for dinner. And I'm like, oh my God, this takes me back. Right? If we start seeing our food as being good food, eating in proper portions, cooked well, sometimes we used to kill our vegetable in cooking too. We used to
So the cooking methods.
Overcook.
the
So,
cooking, we used to overcook things
Okay.
too.
so when we fry tomato is also a vegetable,
yeah,
right?
it is.
And then I've always thought of this thing,
I
the
know
way we
tomato is
fry
a
our
fruit, I
stew.
think.
Okay,
Yeah.
by the time you fry it, they will fry this thing.
They'll
So
fry
I start thinking, are you sure there's anything left?
the nutrients
say,
are gone.
First of all, we boil it, then you sieve the water, so the water of the tomato goes there. And I'm thinking, hope you are not sieving the nutrient. Because I remember we used to eat raw tomato growing up.
Yeah.
And all of those things don't exist anymore. So that's that. I want to ask something so I don't forget. Intermittent fasting.
Okay.
So people are now preaching it over time. Somebody said because of how suspicious a lot of the food we have now are. In fact, to him, that intermittent fasting is good because we've heard that the less food you have in your body, the higher your chance of being healthy. I don't know how true.
I think she will need to confirm
So
that.
you might need to confirm that and tell us how important is intermittent fasting, because some people are practicing intermittent fasting to maybe shed weight. Why for some others, they want to stay healthy, right? I know for some people that have struggle with bowel disorder or something, maybe indigestion, oftentimes you want to stay off food as much as you can. So is it healthy? And if you are passing through economic hardship, I think that's very good. But in the real sense, is it good, right, to starve your body of food for certain period and hope it doesn't have an adverse effect on the nutrients that your body needs?
So I've actually done a lot of research on intermittent fasting in the past because I was trying to use that as a method. I heard about it, and also you trying to use it as a method to lose a couple of kilograms from my weight. Right. So I had cost to do a deep dive into it. And what I would say is that they say it's also a fad, like all this what's it called? There's a diet, keto diet,
Keto,
and
yeah.
all of these things. There's a lot of them that come and go. But intermittent fasting has health benefits in the sense that you're not starving yourself. You have a period of time where you eat, and your period of time where your body can actually make use of what you've eaten till the next time. So there's some say like 16 hours of eating, like 8 hours on. So the whole goal of intermittent fasting is just to reduce the number of times you eat and how much you eat per time.
Okay.
So it's not as if you do intermittent fasting and the next thing all the food that you not eat.
You now eat it at
You
once.
not eat it at once. That's not the goal. The goal is that if your body is not consuming calories, it will start burning whatever is there to continue to keep active, right?
Okay.
So I think I have a brother who also tried intermittent fasting. So what it does is that it loads up on like watermelon, fruits that are fluid content heavy. Then during the time when it's fasting, it's not actually fasting like that. You can eat a whole watermelon because watermelon is mostly vitamins and water,
Yes.
as it were. So, and at the time when it's now able to eat, it takes like one meal and continues with fruits like that. So, the goal of intermittent is to reduce how much you eat, and that when your body goes into fasting, the extra that you already have before it to start breaking it down and down. So, but for some people, what they don't eat, they will not go and eat it. And another example of that diet type thing is when people do smaller portions throughout the day. So instead of eating 2 cups of rice now, I eat half a cup now. Next
Okay.
3 hours, I eat half a cup. So it gives your body time to break it down.
Okay.
And
Okay.
just those smaller portions, sometimes it helps. And intermittent fasting should not also be done alone, right? It should be done with everything works together. Keeping fit, working 10,000 steps a day, working 20,000 steps a day, all of these things. So they work on it. So the research I've done on intermittent fasting actually shows that it has more benefits than adverse effects when done right.
Properly. Okay. What about eating late in the night?
No. Straight up no. Like, because when you eat late in the night, next thing is you're going to bed.
Yeah.
What if you're going to stay awake all night?
What if you're going to say, no, still?
I'm staying awake and working
So
all
as
night.
long as you're
Are
not
you staying at work
engaged in
and walking around up and down?
No, I
You,
don't.
you, earlier you said something about our parents, and how long they lived because you forget that a lot of them were farmers. A lot of them were people that had to, if they eat, they have to wake up and start, they were people that were involved in manual labor.
labor.
A lot of them
Very
were
active.
very active people. You see old men, like feet, abs, biceps and triceps and all these things, right? So, I would say that eating late at night is not good for anybody, right? Because it doesn't give your body time to actually break down what you've eaten. Some people, if they eat by 6 p.m., they take a walk around their estate or do whatever they want to do. But by the time you're eating by 10, you eat by 10 only to wake up in the morning by 7 again to another meal.
Okay, so
Okay, all right. So let's go to another topic again now. You know about HIV.
Yeah.
People see HIV as a death sentence. They see it as the worst thing that can ever happen to a human being. However, we've heard that there are other diseases that are even worse than HIV. Now, I will mention hepatitis.
Yep.
So I will want you to talk about that as well, because there are people out there who believe HIV is the end of the whole thing, is the worst thing that can ever happen. So for hepatitis, how worse can it be than HIV?
Hepatitis is terrible. Hepatitis is the senior brother of HIV. At least HIV itself, if it shows you signs like you are losing weight, maybe you didn't even discover it on time, you get a TB co-infection, you're coughing, you're sweating at night. HIV is still quite reversible with the current level of medications that we have. And with HIV now, you can even be using drugs up to a level where the virus is undetectable in your system. That even if you share sharps with anybody else or you have unprotected intercourse with your partner, they won't get
You
HIV.
mean it can be reversed?
Not reversed. The viral load can.
Okay, viral load. Okay.
Let me say, in reversal, what I mean is that the symptoms, like you losing weight, is your thing. By the time you start taking your drugs, you can go back to looking like you were before.
Okay.
Do you get the symptoms are treatable, right?
Okay.
But for most people that have hepatitis and it's discovered late, it leads to liver cancer. And liver cancer is a terrible thing because there's really no cure for it. Right, so it causes what we call like liver cirrhosis. Can cause hepatocellular carcinoma. Can cause cirrhosis. All of it. The goal of hepatitis is to destroy your liver.
Okay.
That's it. HIV affects every cell in the body that has T lymphocyte. There's a.
But HIV affects every part of the body.
Every cell.
Hepatitis.
Every cell that has a T presenting cell, and there's a science behind it. I'm not sure I'm saying it right, Seth.
But hepatitis, we can narrow it down to the liver.
It just hepatitis, liver. I think I want to say Greek name or something, but hepatitis literally means inflammation of the liver. Right, that's the
person will become over bloated.
There's a lot of symptoms that can
come
with
seen someone there,
chronic liver disease. So
liver cirrhosis.
Yeah, there's a lot of symptoms that can come with it. It's too many to even start listing here, but that's why we advocate that people get their HIV and hepatitis B test done. Hepatitis is not as common as HIV because the spread is not how do I put it? It wasn't much of a public health concern at some point, right? But now it is because it's also it's transmitted the same way HIV is transmitted sexually, right? And also sharing of sharps, right? So,
what about sweats? Heard about that?
I heard about that too, and I think I read on it that it is possible.
Yeah,
I would say it is possible.
So that makes it more dangerous then.
It is dangerous. That's why I said, like, any person, do your hepatitis B test, do your hepatitis C test. Hepatitis B is the most fulminant, is the most malignant of all of them. So you get tested routinely, especially if you're doing a job that like mine that exposes you to people's blood and body fluids.
Malignant. That's malignant and benign tumor. I think I
Yeah,
can remember that word.
yeah.
So we are pressed for time. Just touch up on the last thing, next 1 minute. Water. Right? Is a class of food. So I eat well. I don't drink lots of water. What's the downside? And does the temperature of the water matter? And all of those things. Just touch up on that in 1 minute.
Okay, water is very important. As we are, as human beings, 70% of our body is water, right? So your body's internal environment, your internal milieu needs that water. So what happens? So one of the diseases that kills children fast is gastroenteritis, where they are stooling and vomiting because they are losing body water fast.
Yeah.
Dehydration can lead to shock, and before you know it, the baby is gone because their own they like how many is their body that the all the water is going. Do you get? So as people, we need to drink a lot of water, right? So you're not dehydrated. Some people they have constant headaches. They don't even know what that is because they are.
Can you take too much water? Is there anything like
Yes.
over drinking water?
Yes, I've seen cases of water poisoning. I think
Okay.
I still saw like a case of it like last month or like last 2 months.
So from drinking too much water.
Mm,
So how was the quantity
what's
of
the
water we should take?
quantity? I would have like love to look that up, but I think maybe like 3 to, I don't want to say figures, I don't know, but just you can look it up online. The information is everywhere. Some
Okay.
people say 8 glasses. I remember that one, 8 glass of water per day. I can't remember how much it measures in liters now, but just take enough. If you don't take water, you'll be constipated. Like to even poop will become a problem. So take enough water. Your body will thank you for it. Your skin, even people that do dermatology, that do skincare, one of the things they recommend is take enough water, keep hydrated, keep your body will be moisturized. You won't look dry and ashy.
Wow. So the temperature of the water. I want you to touch up on that.
So the temperature of the water it depends on you, your personal preference. It can be warm, it can be cold, it can be room temperature. Some people they don't take cold water because they have sensitive teeth, right? It depends on what your body wants at particular time. So Nigeria is a hot country. I mean, you can't literally be stuck in Lagos traffic under hot sun and want room temperature water.
But
It's like,
someone once told me that hot water is better. At least it flushes your
which
kidney.
flush?
That's what I heard. I'm not a medical doctor.
So there's a lie. There's a lie. I think there's a lie to tell. Let me do this flushing soon.
Okay.
There's a lie they tell women that when they give birth that they should drink warm water, that it will help their uterus. She even learned biology in secondary school. They not teach you digestive system at the very least. When you drink water, it goes from your mouth to your esophagus to your stomach
Okay.
to your small intestine, like
Yeah,
this
it's
time
going to
before
large
some
intestine.
of you the nutrients actually diffuse out. Water goes to the kidney, but do you think that the water is the same temperature when it gets to the stomach? No, right? So I will just say it here that drinking water is actually good for the kidneys, right? It
Okay.
helps. So the kidney is the cleansing part of our body. So whatever fluid you take, it ends up in the kidney, and the kidney is what forms urine, literally. So if you stay hydrated, it actually helps your kidney health. But the temperature of water doesn't really matter. The only way it will matter is if maybe you have for like your teeth health,
Okay.
right? Like so drinking cold water, a lot of cold water for some people can cause them to have sensitive teeth, or just nuances like that. But in terms of like kidney health, or in terms of women where they say drink water, hot water to flush your uterus, the water don't even reach the uterus.
Like I said, we're pressed for time, and you just you did a lot to that topic. So what's your parting words for us and every other person listening?
My parting words is a statement I've told someone that I will continue to borrow ever since I heard them say it, is that the body you have is the only body you have. Like, your body is literally what makes you like a human being present in this world. you don't have any excuse not to take care of your body or know your body, right? So you have to know, you understand how your body works, right? You have to take it upon yourself to learn, to be informed. So you're not moved by every wave of misinformation. So stay enlightened, and if you need any help, ask questions, and make sure that you take care of this vessel that you are dwelling in.
All right. So at this point, we would have loved to go on and on and on, but we are pressed for time. From today's show, you've heard that we have to be intentional about what we eat, what we drink, and what we are not supposed to take. So taking care of our health is for you, for her, and for everyone. Thank you for today's show. Hope to see you guys again. And thank you for coming on the set.
Thank you for having me.